Yo, what up? Russ, practically here, back with another video. Now, I was gonna do a live reaction to the Game Awards this year, but of course, the day of the Game Awards, I wake up sick. And I'm still basically kind of sick. I don't know if you can hear the congestion that's going on up in here, but yeah, it's pretty bad. But I'm better than I was the night of. But I still did manage to watch the Game Awards. That's why we're here today. We're gonna go through the whole show, talk about all the winners, talk about the reveals, talk about some of the points of discussion around the Game Awards, instead of the live reaction I was gonna do in the first place. All right, so out of the 23 categories that I actually went through and talked about, at the end of the day, it seems like I got about 11 of them right. The big obvious thing is that Baldur's Gate just, you know, swept the competition this year. A lot of people are upset about that, but I'm gonna talk about that later. But for now, let's go through this list. So starting off at most anticipated game, I predicted that it would be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and the winner was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Out of all those games, that was the biggest game on the list. So that was the only one that really made sense to me. That was pretty obvious to me. Best adaptation, I picked The Last of Us. The Last of Us 1. Again, out of that list, The Last of Us was the only one that was like really talked about to a like great length out of all of those. The rest of them, like Twisted Metal, you kind of heard for like a week and then it was dead. Gran Turismo movie, that was like a fleeting thing as well. Last of Us, the only one that had staying power. Like for one, it was like releasing weekly, I believe. So that kept the conversation going. And even after the season ended, people were still talking about it a lot. That really helped to push its stock value higher, if that makes any sense. But coming up to the one that I got wrong, best multiplayer, I said it was gonna be Street Fighter 6, and I was sorely mistaken. It was Baldur's Gate 3. Now, to start, I didn't even know Baldur's Gate 3 had multiplayer like that. But on top of that, the fact that it won best multiplayer, I am really surprised. I can't speak much on it because I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3. I can't form an opinion on it one way or the other. Best sports and racing, Forza won that. I picked Forza to win that purely off the fact that it's the biggest game in that list. Although I don't think it's actually the best game on that list. That's one category where it's like, okay, this is not really a good representation of the genre as a whole. I don't think Forza should have won that one. If we're gonna talk more Simcade racing, then I feel like the Crew Motorfest was a better game this year than Forza. But for anybody who has a different opinion, you know, let me know in the comments below. I'd like to hear what you think about all these categories as we go through them. And actually, sticking with Forza, I want to skip to best accessibility. This one I didn't make an opinion on because I don't, like I said, I don't need those accessibility features when I'm playing the game. So I felt like it was wrong for me to actually try and pick a game out of that set, especially since I don't go through the accessibility features of these games because I don't need to, nor would I know what's useful or not. But Forza won that too. So as much as I knock Forza for not being the best game, I am glad that it at least seems like it's doing a lot to make the game accessible to everybody that wants to play it. So I will give it, you know, flowers for that. Moving on to sim and strategy. This is not my forte, so this was kind of a guess, and I picked Pikmin 4. Pikmin 4 just seemed like the best choice out of those choices. And what do you know? It was the right choice. Go figure. Best family. Now this kind of was a toss-up. I feel like I kind of got influenced by my chat room a bit by saying party animals, but the winner ended up being Super Mario Brothers Wonder. I'm not surprised. It was between Super Mario and I forgot what else was in the list, but Super Mario was definitely one that I was thinking about. But I ultimately thought that Super Mario maybe didn't have as big of an impact with the younger crowd nowadays, but hey, I don't know. I was wrong. Whatever. Best fighting. So I picked MK1. And it didn't win, and I'm so glad. Street Fighter 6 won best fighting. I picked MK1 just because MK is just a giant of a fighting game, and not just the fighting community, but just the general gaming community as a whole. Like, people just love Mortal Kombat. So I figured that might be the reason why I would win. Although me personally, I did feel like Street Fighter 6 was a better game this time around. I'm glad people realized that Street Fighter 6 took a lot of strides this year to, you know, be the game that it is, and I'm happy it won. Going on to best RPG, Baldur's Gate 3 was what I chose. Baldur's Gate 3 won. That was the obvious answer. Like, I don't know what else you would have chose in this list. There was no There was no other option besides Baldur's Gate 3. Best action adventure, I chose Zelda, and Zelda won. Again, with a year that has Zelda in it, you're gonna have a hard time trying to beat it unless the Zelda game is just absolute trash. And 9 times out of 10, it's not absolute trash. Next, best mobile game, this category that I didn't really care about, I said Ever Crisis would win because mainly that's the only game I played, and it was pretty fun for what I was playing. But the winner was Honkai Star Rail. I still don't understand the Hoyoverse stuff. I still don't understand it, but it won. Okay. To you guys that like that series out there, I'm happy for you. Moving on. Best debut indie. I did not have an answer because I didn't know any of these games, but Cocoon won. So congratulations to Cocoon. Maybe one day I'll get to play a game, but there's a lot of stuff out. Best indie, Sea of Stars. And I said Sea of Stars because Sea of Stars was the only one that people were really raving about on this list. And so it's good that it won because honestly, from the looks of it, it looks like a fun game and I still want to get to it. I still really would like to get to play that. Best community support. Best community support. I said Cyberpunk because they have been putting in a lot of work for this DLC. And a lot of people have been talking about this DLC, Phantom Liberty. But the winner was Baldur's Gate 3. Considering it won best multiplayer, it makes sense now. Why wouldn't it win this when it has that much of the, I guess, community behind this multiplayer? So it makes sense that it won this one. Best ongoing game, again, I said Cyberpunk, and Cyberpunk actually won. And people said I was crazy for thinking Cyberpunk was going to win, but I had faith. Even though I didn't play it, I had faith and it won. But no, like seriously, seeing all the discussion around the Phantom Liberty DLC and how much they feel like it has rejuvenated the game in a sense, led me to really get behind Cyberpunk in this category, just because I hadn't heard about that anywhere else. And Final Fantasy 14 actually lost. I'm not happy about it, all right? I know I'm smiling, I'm not happy about it, but it's just, it's won it for so long, and it's been knocked off its high horse. It's been knocked off the throne. So that was also, I guess, a little bit surprising to see that Final Fantasy 14 didn't win anything this year. Granted, they didn't do shit this year, so that makes sense. But even still, like, that has been the king for a number of years now. All right, so best performance. Okay, so this is kind of getting into a little bit of the discourse around the Game Awards this year, mainly with, you know, the whole Spider-Man thing, which I'll talk about in a second. I picked Yuri to win this mainly because Yuri, Ben, and I forget the dude's name, but the dude that plays Cal in Star Wars. Those are the only 3 voices only 3 performances I had heard this year. So I couldn't speak on everybody else. And out of those 3, I felt like Yuri had the best one. It might have been recency bias a little bit because, you know, that was the most recent game I played. You know, Star Wars was at the beginning of the year, and then Final Fantasy was a little bit after that. So I don't remember their performances all that well. But even still, just thinking back a little bit on it, like I still think he did like a really, really good job overall throughout the whole game. But regardless, the winner was Neil Dubon for, I forget the character's name, but in Baldur's Gate 3. I'm not surprised, honestly, just because of how much of a story-based game Baldur's Gate 3 is. And he's also been like at the forefront of the game as far as marketing. So I wouldn't, or that character has been. So I'm not surprised that he's actually won. And even then, like when he went on stage to like accept this award, you could tell this meant a lot to him. So congrats to Neil. Like I said, I wish I could have heard his performance, and I might still go back to play it, Baldur's Gate 3, because I really, even now, like I really want to go back and play it just to experience it for myself. I'm kind of sad that, you know, so many other things that made me miss out on it. Next is best audio design. So I picked Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush won. Out of all the games in this category, Hi-Fi Rush. Don't get sick, y'all. Don't get sick. Hi-Fi Rush was different than the rest of these games in this department in the fact that audio is like the core mechanic of Hi-Fi Rush. Without the audio, like you can still play the game because, you know, accessibility, like there's visual cues for you to like, you know, be on beat and whatnot. But like without the audio, the experience is pretty not what it's supposed to be. That was the right choice for that category in my opinion, and I'm glad to see that they won that award this year. So best score in music, I picked Hi-Fi Rush mainly because I didn't really know the music from most of the other games, only from Hi-Fi Rush and FF16. And FF16 actually won this one. I'm kind of surprised a little bit. I'm not knocking the music in FF16. I think it's great. Some people don't like it, but if Hi-Fi didn't win it, I thought Baldur's Gate would take it. Not saying I know what Baldur's Gate music sounds like. I really don't, but just off of the fact that RPGs in general have good soundtracks, like 9 times out of 10 they do. That's why I would have given it to Baldur's Gate 3, on top of the fact that, you know, it's Baldur's Gate 3 this year. So, but Final Fantasy 16 won that. I'm glad it won something. It deserves to be recognized in some form or fashion, so I'm glad it won that. Best art direction. So I don't really know too much about how art direction is decided upon, really how it's critiqued. I picked Hi-Fi Rush because it was just different from the rest of them, but Alan Wake 2 ended up taking it. And I actually said in my video that I could see Alan Wake 2 taking it just due to all the imagery that was being displayed to us in like the marketing trailers and whatnot. They were doing some pretty cool stuff. So I wasn't too far off when I was coming up with my answer, but ultimately I just decided to go with the thing that was just vastly different from everything else. Didn't work out for me, but oh well. What am I winning? Absolutely nothing. It's fine. Best narrative. I said Baldur's Gate 3 because Baldur's Gate 3 and Alan Wake 2 took it, surprisingly. I did not see that one coming. Best game direction. I said Baldur's Gate 3 again because why not? And Alan Wake 2 won. And I did say Alan Wake 2 could probably win this one as well. I just felt like the way they were taking the game, it could have a good chance to win. And it actually did. My gut said Baldur's Gate 3, but my gut was wrong. So, Game of the Year. Baldur's Gate 3 was the winner.
We are really trying our hardest to remain humble at this point, okay?
And Baldur's Gate 3 is what I picked. It's not a surprise that it won this year. If you've been paying attention to the gaming industry at all, then you would know that Baldur's Gate 3 was the game of this year. Like there was no question about it. Is it everybody's cup of tea? No, but you can't deny the fact that it has had a giant impact on the gaming industry as a whole this year. There has basically been no negativity around this game. It looks great. The story is great. Long experience that you can enjoy for however fucking long you want to. The online is great, apparently. And it was a complete package when you bought the game. That is a rare thing nowadays. It was a full complete package. Nowadays, when you buy games, you're buying like maybe 50 to 60% of the game and you're waiting for the rest of it later down the road. This shit was full, complete, and it worked. So everybody that's pissed that their game didn't win kind of needs to go back and like check themselves. And this leads me into the conversation that's been going on about Spider-Man 2 and how it was nominated for so many different things and didn't win jack shit. Does it suck that Spider-Man 2 didn't win anything? Yeah, I mean, it does. Not for me personally. It sucks for the developers because, you know, you want to see the hard work you put in recognized in some way. You can argue that the nomination is a form of recognition, but, you know, winning something is like the ultimate form, okay? But at the same time, these awards do not validate how good or bad a game is. And like, I literally had a Spider-Man 2 video I was working on that I wanted to put out, but after all this nonsense that happened, I don't even want to put it out anymore. If we really look at Spider-Man 2, yes, it's a good game. Yes, it is a great game. Like, Spider-Man 2 did a really good job of improving on what Spider-Man and Miles Morales did before it. Can it compare to the outright anomaly and just atomic bomb that freaking Baldur's Gate 3 was, and even Zelda for that matter? If you're hating the fact that Spider-Man lost because you actually have played Zelda, you actually have played Baldur's Gate 3, you've actually played Alan Wake, you've actually played Mario, and they just didn't tickle your fancy, okay, I mean, sure, that's your own opinion, all right? I can't discredit your opinion because, you know, you've experienced everything and you just generally felt that, you know, Spider-Man was better than everything else. But if you're just gonna be saying that shit and the only thing you played was Spider-Man, I'm sorry, bro, but your credibility just ain't there. It's possible to play every game nowadays. It really is, unless you just literally can sit at home and just play games all day, which many of us like to have that life, but we don't. So unless you can do that, like, your time is limited and you have to pick and choose which games you want to play. But that doesn't give you an excuse to still be ignorant about what's going on out there. You can still research and listen and look up everything that's going on in the gaming industry if you really care about this shit. And if you really did, you'd realize that Spider-Man didn't really have a chance against not even Baldur's Gate 3, but the other games it was up against. It really didn't. Spider-Man's a great game, and the fact that it didn't win anything this year doesn't take away from that fact at all. Like, I'd still tell people to go buy it regardless of if it won an award or not. And if you're a casual person, I'd definitely go tell you to buy that. But I'm able to sit back, watch, read, and listen to all the opinions of people that definitely know more than I do about this subject and actually do this for a living. I'm trying to get there, but regardless, you can't deny the fact that Baldur's Gate 3 had people talking forever. Every other game on this list, one was either just recently came out or they didn't have that much conversation with it. And to be honest, all you gotta do is just look up the review scores. I mean, Baldur's Gate 3's trailer will just fucking tell you, like, it is a list of 10s all over the damn screen. Like, what else can you really say, dude? So everybody that's mad about Spider-Man 2, like, I understand, okay, your game didn't win, but to be honest, the shit doesn't matter. It really doesn't. This is literally supposed to be a celebration of games, all right? And you're turning it into some piss fighting contest, whatever you want to call it. And that's the exact opposite of what this whole thing is supposed to be. So after all that, talking about the awards overall, like as a whole, to me, it was fine. I've heard a lot of people say that they didn't like it. A lot of the main discourse was about how the speech time was definitely not equal among everybody, and I definitely feel that. It's definitely kind of fucked up that a lot of the celebrity guests got to talk for damn near however long they wanted to when they were just, you know, presenting an award, while the actual recipients kind of got like cut. They got cut like really, like, I think when the Cyberpunk devs won, they got the music turned up on them, and then also when Alan Wake 2 won Best Narrative, they also had the music turned up on them. Every time a dev came up to talk and they went on for like longer than like 10, 15 seconds, my heart started to pound because I'm like, please hurry up, please hurry up, please get everything you need to say in here. I don't want this to be like Showtime at the Apollo where they just, you know, the dude comes on and they dance you off the stage, if you know what I'm talking about. If you're old enough to know what that is. Like, a lot of people said it was like pandering to Hollywood, but at the same time, like, it's not like the stars that were there didn't have nothing to do with gaming at all. Like, they were either in a game or going to be in a game, or they were in like some kind of movie that dealt with the game or some kind of production that dealt with the game. It's not like where before, like, it was just a random ass or like a random ass celebrity that just came out to speak because, you know, we need that face card or whatever. I think the one appearance that I could have done without was Tim. I can't say his last name right now. But Tim, the dude that plays Wonka in the movie that's out right now, he's the only one that was like, he didn't really add anything because he just kind of came out and said his line and then left. At least the others, like, at least try to have some kind of connection with the audience and, you know, try to make it fun. He ain't do shit. Like, he just said, here's game of the year. Get the fuck on. So that's where with me, like, I don't feel like the celebrity appearances this year were like a nuisance at all. Like I said, it is unfair, again, that they get more time than the devs do, because the devs definitely deserve to. And shout out anybody who they want to after, you know, slaving their lives away for like 5 to 8 years on end, you know, developing these games that are finally getting recognized. So that was one thing. Christopher Judge. My boy, that was the highlight of the night. So this man comes up immediately as soon as he starts talking on the microphone, they turn the music up on. It's like, hey, shut the fuck up. They're basically playing off the fact that he went on an 8-minute rant last year and nobody stopped him. So they're just like, okay, this time we're gonna cut you before you even talk. All right. But it was all fun and games. But even then, he's decided to keep going and poke fun at Call of Duty. This man said his speech was still longer than the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 campaign this year. Bro, you can't say that. You can't say that, dude. You can't say that, man. And then he proceeded to say that that's another company he's never going to work for. Yeah, it's probably not, man. It's probably not. Until like years later where, you know, all is forgiven and then you're gonna, you know, voice a character where they have your face scan and everything like that. That'll probably happen sometime down the line. But man, and then the devs gonna act all butthurt and shit. And it's like, yeah, I get it. Was it the best thing to do? I mean, probably not really. Like, we're supposed to be celebrating games, not trashing them at the Game Awards. So it's not really the place for that. If y'all that butthurt about it, then fix it. That's it. Just prove him wrong and fix it. He would have nothing to say if y'all actually, you know, made something worth somebody's time. That's all I gotta say. But other than that though, there was nothing else really crazy that went on. We didn't have anybody jump on stage this time, so they really did beef up security like they said they were going to. I actually am wondering, was the crowd full of like, you know, common folk and fans, or was it really just straight industry people that were in the crowd this year? I don't really know. I asked that because there were a couple of points where I felt like people should have got like better reaction and they didn't get jack shit. But of course, this Game Awards, we got a shit ton of reveals. And actually, before I get to the reveal, that's another thing. There were a lot of reveals. No, I feel like there were a bit too many. I felt like all these reveals took away from the opportunity for the teams to go on stage and get their awards. There were a lot of awards that were just speed ran through over and over again. And that kind of sucked because a lot of those people don't get their chance to shine and, you know, for us to see their faces on the stage. Instead, we got to make way for all these world premieres and game turns and whatnot of games we're not going to see anything of until like 2 years later anyway. That rubbed me the wrong way a bit. I wish they would have cut them. I could have done with fewer premieres and let more people go up on the stage and actually accept their award and like have time to, you know, speak and thank to whoever they wanted to. But hey, it is what it is. As far as premieres and trailers and whatnot, there were a lot. Like I said, Usual June. This one looked a lot like Kingdom Hearts. At least the weapon she was using looked like a Keyblade. So that's what kind of caught my attention on this one. Exodus was a big one. This game looked kind of interesting. It gave me Mass Effect. Literally, as I was typing in my notes, it gave me Mass Effect vibes. Jeff Keighley literally said it gave me Mass Effect vibes, but it really does. At least as far as like the exploration, I guess. Did we see combat? I don't remember. But at least as far as exploration is, we don't know about anything else in the game really though. God of War Valhalla is a roguelike mode that is coming to God of War this month, like literally in a couple of days. That is good for all you God of War fans out there. I forget her name. I forget her first name, but Nakamura, who used to be who was working on the Ghostwire Tokyo before she left. This is one of the people I felt like she got more respect when she was on stage, bro. She was full of energy like she normally is. She even did the goddamn Survey Corps salute.
Your support changed my life.
And nobody gave a shit about that. I was like, what? No. She got disrespected. I feel like she should have had the biggest pop of the entire night. She showed a concept for her new game, again, called Kamori. It looked interesting. Again, we gotta wait to see when the actual game, you know, is making progress, you know, what the actual gameplay is like. But it looked cool. Sega had a big surprise. This is probably the one thing that was actually this is the one thing I think I was hyped for the most out of this whole show. So Sega is gonna remake a number of his classic games. I won't say full modern remakes. I'll say full modern remakes. Biggest one being Jet Set Radio. It's been years since I played Jet Set Radio, and the fact that it is coming back to modern hardware now is just like really got me excited. Shinobi. That is a game I used to I used to allegedly emulate this game, and I used to play it all the damn time. Golden Axe, don't have too many memories with that, but I do know it's a beloved classic. Streets of Rage, bro, Streets of Rage, I used to play all the freaking time, man. I never beat the shit, but I used to play it all the time. And oh my God, I'm so excited. And Crazy Taxi, another one. Crazy Taxi, I used to play a lot too. I'm so excited to see all these and how they're gonna envision them in like the new modern era. I just can't wait, bro. This was like the best thing that happened. This is the best thing I saw all night. I'm pretty sure, unless I go down this list and see something else. But as of right now, this is probably the best thing I saw all night. And literally, as I say the next item. Okay, so Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. This is the sequel to Tenkaichi 3. This is the Tenkaichi 4. If they're even gonna call it that, they're calling it Sparking Zero. I don't know if that's just the Japanese title or if that's gonna be it for the American title too. But we saw gameplay of this, or at least in-engine gameplay, something like that. The game looks good. The game looks absolutely incredible as far as graphics and effects and all that stuff. All that shit looks cool. And also we got a glimpse at some of the characters going to be in the game. Mainly a lot of the super stuff. We got SS Blue, we got Frieza, we got Broly, Jiren, and the gameplay looks to be what you remember from Tenkaichi, and even Raging Blast for that matter. Did this trailer do anything much for me? Not really, because I'm not really concerned about the gameplay aspect of it. nor am I really concerned about like the character aspect of it. I'm more concerned about, you know, the content aspect of it, because nowadays with games, you know, releasing like bare bones shit, if they do that with this game, that is going to be a massive like bummer. The Tenkaichi games have always had like an ass load of content for you to go through and play. As far as single player wise, I'm pretty sure the online element is going to be at least operational. I'm not going to say it's going to be good, because let's not kid ourselves. This is not a AAA online game, okay? It'll probably work decent enough for you to like have fun with it, but I'm not expecting the online to be like great. Is this gonna come like a full package, or is this gonna come with nothing and you have to buy DLC on top of DLC on top of DLC? I'm already expecting DLC for characters and shit. Like, that's gonna be a given. Like, as many characters as we already want for this game, they're not all gonna be there. You're gonna have to end up paying for at least like half of them, if not more than that. So that's gonna be a given. But DLC for like other modes, I can see that being a thing too, even though I don't want it to be. The Mana series is coming back with Visions of Mana. That was really cool to see. I'm not the biggest Mana fan. I've played Secrets of Mana a little bit. I'll be lying if I say that Visions didn't intrigue me a little bit. I kind of want to play it, but you know, me knowing myself, will I have time? Probably not. And then we have Hideo Kojima coming out on stage. Actually, before that, I don't know if he showed the trailer before or after he came out on stage. Either way, you got a trailer, basically a whole bunch of people's faces right in front of the damn camera are reciting lines that made no sense. And then at the end, the girl streamed all crazy like. And when I'm watching this, I'm like, what? Hideo comes out, he explains that, or he talks about the game a bit. It is called OD for the moment. What the f does that mean? I have no idea. Only he knows, and probably he'll be the only one that probably knows after the game comes out too. I don't know. Literally in my notes, I have OD, what the hell. A cool thing that did happen was Jordan Peele comes out, another celebrity. It's revealed that he's actually working on this game with Hideo Kojima, which is something I personally was happy to see. Am I excited for this game? No. I'm excited for this collaboration. Yes. The game, not so much. Jordan Peele is great. Growing up, you know, watching all of his, you know, crazy ass comedy antics, now seeing him, you know, produce and directing movies, as well as, you know, being a black man. It's cool to see him doing great things. And then coming over to do great things in a medium that I like really love and care about. It's just freaking amazing. Like, so I was more hyped for that aspect more than the game itself. Black Myth Wukong got a trailer with an English dub finally, and it is coming out August 20th next year. Really looking forward to that. We also got Tales of Kenzara Zhao. I think this is the voice actor that played Bayek in AC Origins. I kind of missed it when he was talking about himself, but this is a game that he decided to create with, you know, a team of his own. He did it in honor of I think his dad, I believe. I think his dad passed away, and he, you know, just took everything he had and just put it into making this game. It was an action side scroller that has heavy African culture influence all throughout the game. It seems like it's a good game. It's definitely a smaller independent title. I'm looking forward to seeing how that comes about, and I hope it does well, honestly. I really does. The first Berserker Kazan, it seemed like a Souls-like game, kinda, maybe like a Sekiro-like game, placed in the DNF Duel universe. The trailer looked cool, the action looked cool, it looked fun, so that's something to look forward to. Okay, this was another one that really got me hyped, actually. We got an announcement that we're getting a Blade game. From Arcane. I believe this is the main Arcane team, not the one from that made Redfall. I believe this is the main one. It's literally just an announcement trailer right now, but we're going to be playing as Blade, take place in Paris. It's a single player game. All those are green flags right now, but we'll see as more news comes out about it, whether it, you know, still looks promising or not. But that was like an exciting announcement. That was one of the few that really like got me to sit upright as I was saying, watching this, you know, sickly in bed, dying. Mecha Break. This actually looked pretty cool. For the longest, I thought it was like a Gundam game, which I mean, Gundam, it's a mecha game. Gundams are mecha, like 2 + 2 = 4. But this looked pretty fire. It is a multiplayer game where you're just basically going head to head against other people and giant mechs. It was very fast paced and very crazy looking. And it looked like it was a lot of fun, honestly. Den of Wolves, which is basically the Payday devs making another Payday, except it's in the future, from what I remember them saying. Okay. Guilty Gear Strive is getting some DLC. We got a DLC character, Elfit Valentine. She looks actually pretty cool. Makes me want to play Guilty Gear Strive now. And it's also getting a 3v3 mode. Also, Final Fantasy 16 has DLC that is literally out right now. I think the first part of the story DLC, Echoes of the Fallen, literally dropped the day of. Literally dropped that night. I have yet to play it yet. I'm probably gonna be booting it up. But yeah, that was honestly out of nowhere. We heard about the DLC coming, but they never said when, and then they just drop it like out like that. So thank you. And then we also got to look at the second part that's gonna be coming later on. And then lastly, Monster Hunter Wilds. This is basically the sequel or the successor to Monster Hunter World. Seems like it's gonna be bigger and better. That's all I can really say. If you're a Monster Hunter fan, pretty sure you're excited for that. I used to play Monster Hunter. I don't play it as much anymore, but I wouldn't mind getting back into it. I wouldn't mind it. You know, if any of you guys out there play Monster Hunter and want to run some games in the new Monster Hunter Wilds, whenever that comes out, I'd be down to do that. I say that now. When it comes out, I don't know. That was it for the Game Awards. And honestly, I don't even remember most of the stuff, and I'm not going back to look at the trailers because that was a long show. That is another thing I wish it was not that long. The show is like 3.5 hours or so. That's a bit too long. You do not need to be doing that. 2 hours max, bro. You can cut down on the game announcements. Honestly, you can cut down on some of the performances too. Like, we don't really need that. And don't let the celebrities talk their asses off for 10 minutes. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the Game Awards. Thanks for watching this video. I appreciate you if you made it all the way to the end of this. I know it was kind of like long-winded. There was a lot to talk about this time around. But yeah, what did you think of the Game Awards? Did you enjoy it? Did you dislike it? What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? Did your game win anything at all? Did it win Game of the Year? What was your Game of the Year personally if it wasn't even nominated? There's a lot of stuff to talk about, and I'm welcome to all the conversation down in the comments below, so let's get to typing down there. If you like this video and want to see more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like, share the video, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm Russ, practically out. Later.